Hey everyone, thanks for joining a conversation I'm having here with Lloyd Temple from TikTok. Lloyd, it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you, sir, for joining us here at FraudCON and having a conversation around scams and the impact we've seen in the industry.
Thank you, Ian. Pleasure to be with you. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about our company and our approach to combating a very serious global problem. So good to connect with you.
So I'm Ian Mitchell from the Knoble. I founded the Knoble in 2019, fighting human trafficking, elder abuse, child exploitation, and scams. And Lloyd Temple is a financial crimes investigator from TikTok. And Lloyd, I've gotten to know you and your chief marketing officer from Maureen from TikTok for a while. We've been working together on all kinds of programs, specifically with the financial services industry, to get more involved. And one of the programs we've done is around Be Cyber Smart. And just what has this relationship been like to you? And you guys have been really involved in this Be Cyber Smart campaign for quite a while. Why don't we start there?
Sure. No, it's a great launching point, and it's a pleasure to talk about that. One thing to start off on the front end is security is mission critical at TikTok. We have over 1 billion users on a platform built to inspire creativity and bring joy. And we take this very seriously. We want to ensure the safest and fun environment that exists for people of all ages. So through a combination of advanced technology and people, we want to identify and remove all the deceitful content that may be out there. We're certainly underway and growing our converged team of security, safety, and privacy practitioners around the globe. Creating a 24/7 follow the sun model to monitor, detect, and quickly remove those threats. And we believe that one of the key fraud and scams are definitely an industry-wide challenge. And one commonality in that threat landscape is an increased sophistication of the adversaries. And we firmly believe that the best way to combat those threats is education and awareness. And we have our global communications team and cross-function with many other teams within our company. We have created a hashtag Be Cyber Smart in-app campaign where we're working very closely with industry leaders like yourself, the the Identity Theft Resource Center, the National Cybersecurity Alliance, About Fraud, Wiser, FraudCON Fraud, all these fraud experts to basically inform our community about the threats that are out there and give them tips on how to combat this ever-growing threat. And there's in-app videos that have a fun way to sort of address what may be a dry topic from time to time. And we believe something we want to do on a regular basis. It's not a one-time deal. We have it's an ongoing campaign, and it's predicated on various sort of launching points during the year. During Valentine's Day, Internet Awareness Day, we recently launched an additional campaign on this summer on how to keep kids and families safe during the summer months when school is out. So it's something we believe very strongly in, and we look forward to collaborating with you and other industry leaders on ways to improve. We're certainly always open to collaborate.
Well, there are definitely some names there. I think a lot of folks that are listening in will definitely recognize a lot of good folks. And, the fraud community, fighting fraud, anti-fraud community is a small community. And, Lloyd, from your background, so you were previously HSI, if I remember right.
That's correct. Yes, I was a Homeland Security Investigations Special Agent for about 28 years. I retired back in 2019, then moved over the private sector and continued the fight to combat all the criminals that are out there, and I enjoy it quite a bit. So
you've seen both sides of the world. So you've even seen kind of the law enforcement and probably seen a lot of the masterminding behind some of these attacks, and now you're seeing maybe even the front end of the funnel where there's some grooming and solicitation, looking for victims. And so just any thoughts that you've seen in your career related to scams and fraud, and just anything interesting?
I think in general, it's kind of interesting. And I look when on the front end of my career back in, I started in 1991, there was, very limited sort of fraud education out there. And I think it was done on a very ad hoc basis. I think the federal government, US federal government, has certainly taken a better approach on terms of educating consumers. And I think it's also, I think a lot of banks and a lot of companies like TikTok have taken a much better approach in educating consumers well, but it's a worldwide scope. And especially with all the social media, all the internet out there, it's a problem for everybody, right? Over 50% of US Social Security numbers have been compromised, according to some estimates. $38 billion in credit card fraud by the year 2027, according to some estimates. Business email compromise use cases between 2016 and 2019. And this doesn't even include COVID numbers, right? Mm-hmm. $26 billion stolen worldwide, according to the FBI. So it is an ever growing and threatening landscape, and it's something we all have to be vigilant about. And this is paramount that we ensure that our customers educate themselves and take necessary measures to protect and prevent and verify, monitor all these threats. And one key part of this is also to slow down, right? I think there's this information world moves at warp speed, and one key thing we want to educate our consumers, particularly when it comes to scams, is it's not a rush, it's not a race. When you see information, when you see text, when you see emails come in your inbox, you're not required to respond instantaneously. Like, take a step back. If it seems a little funky, if it's coming from corporation XYZ, go to that website and verify it. Look at the grammar, look at the spelling. Is it comport with what a normal business would issue? Those are key elements, I believe, in protecting our consumers against fraud in any setting, frankly.
Well, I want to get to this later, but obviously, you guys at TikTok have a big part on this, and believe you. I think you feel that you have a big part, and so you're really leaning in, which I want to talk about a little bit later. But I would say, Lloyd, just from your thought, and this is pure speculation, but you've seen this fight, and you've seen the fraud and scam worlds for a while. Do you think what inherently? I mean, it just looks, when you look at all the FBI numbers, you mentioned this early on, the complete uptick on scams. They're going after the weakest link, which is all of us, and it's interesting. We're all vulnerable to this now. It doesn't matter if it's there's really, I mean, it's amazing. I'm on the phone with C-suites every once in a while that just say, "Hey, I got scammed." Businesses at the Knoble, we actually got scammed. It's like, it's interesting. Everyone at this point, even longtime financial crime fighters, are at risk. And so, what are you seeing now? Do you see this as what side of the coin is this? Is this purely the bad actors have gotten more sophisticated? Are we all more vulnerable? Are they new channels? Is it all the above? Like, when you think about the threat, what's changed since you've seen it, and what do you see now?
I think it's all the above, frankly. I just think that the profit motivation behind this is significant. I think the criminal actors have become more sophisticated and using, frankly, people who used to be in the industry and have some knowledge on how to use technology towards the bad, not the good. That's the unfortunate thing, is these are not unsophisticated criminal actors. These are people who are motivated by profit, and they will outsource and hire very experienced people who know their way around computer software and how to penetrate systems and how to spoof emails and how to penetrate active emails. They are getting people who have cyber security expertise, so that it's a challenge. And this is something we all have to be aware of. We have to be constantly vigilant. One thing I like to say is, BYOB, be your own bank. I think it's really important that people are forward leaning and protecting themselves as much as they can be. There's all sorts of steps you can take to protect yourselves. Two-factor authentication on everything and anything you can. You need to certainly set your credit card alerts, for whatever alerts are available for your bank or your credit card issuer. A lot of people don't take advantage of that. Credit card credit monitoring is very important too. And it's for everybody. It's not just that, in my old profession, I had people who worked in fraud units who got hit by these targeters for identity theft and other types of elements. So nobody's immune from this kind of activity. And I think we all just need to be aware of that, including people in law enforcement, including people in banking and in security. You constantly have to be vigilant about this. And if we're not, I think you're going to miss you are going to miss the opportunity to protect yourself.
It's interesting as we've seen kind of these channels and faster payments kind of come to the rise, and just honestly, even platforms like yours that are just making it possible to reach the masses, and really it's interesting how the whole fight has changed. And I think that both the banks, if I'm talking financial services, need to adjust their programs related to what's now called authorized fraud, or in the UK, you talk about email money transfer, all these different types of things where the customer is the one that's actually participating unknowingly most of the time, participating and being duped into that. That becomes such an almost impossible thing to do on your own. I mean, again, the fraudsters are so good that they're convincing these victims that they're legitimate, and so they're knowingly, and so how you educate to spot that, and how it just all the defenses feel like they need to raise.
Totally agree. The social engineering that these organizations, and they are transnational criminal organizations, they are sophisticated, they are polycriminal in nature, in that they will find ways to make their illicit proceeds through not just one thing, many different crimes. And the bank muling is certainly something that's really disconcerting, because they are preying on people who are vulnerable and don't have much money, and they're looking to use that account. They're saying all the right things that the person wants to hear, right, about their account. And then on the flip side, they become basically a participant and a co-conspirator in a money laundering scheme. And they certainly don't set out to do that. All they see is basically, I just need your account for a short period. Let me use it, and you'll get X, you'll get $2,000 or whatever the fee may be. And they're just keeping, all they're hearing is $2,000 and using my account for a short period. They're not looking down the level of detail that they should be. And it's just, again, this is where banks, everybody have to really educate their consumers in the most proactive fashion to ensure that people do not fall victim to these schemes. And they are, again, these are sophisticated actors who are really good at social engineering, and they know how to manipulate people, whether it's a bank mule, whether it's a romance scam, it's they are very practiced and kind of surgical in what they will do. These scam artists, they will, they're approaching old people for a reason, because they think that they can target them, because they don't think they're going to have as much security, and they may be vulnerable. And so it's something we all need to make sure we look out, not only for ourselves, but also for your neighbor, right? If you have an elderly neighbor, make sure that they're following through and being protective of, and make sure that they're not vulnerable as well. Same thing with your grandparents, your parents. It's sharing that information widely, I believe is super important.
It's interesting that the thing that I keep hearing being repeated, and it's funny, I wrote a song with this called "Too Good to Be True." If it's too good to be true, then it's too good to be true. And that just seems to be, we're all falling victim to that when there's pressure, when there's need. So, okay. So I won't miss this opportunity for all the listeners. I do have financial crimes from TikTok on this video call. So I want to ask some questions because you see a world a little bit differently than we see it. And so especially for the bankers and financial institutions that are watching, so we see the financial transactions, and I will start out by saying no organization and their approach to this is perfect. And I've led fraud on many of these, and and my organization didn't do a great job or a perfect job of these types of fraud and preventing and detecting and remediating them. But I will tell you, it's interesting. We at the Knoble and with our banking communities, we always talk about how social media, so that's where a lot of the funneling, a lot of the grooming, a lot of the solicitation is happening to find victims. And it's interesting, of all of them, we've reached out to quite a bit of them. Honestly, you guys at TikTok came in, not only have you hired people like yourself that are experienced in financial crime and you're trying to build this program, which I applaud and I think it's great. Again, not perfectly, I'm sure, just like the organizations I've created, but you recognize the problem. And I know your marketing team is doing a lot of campaigns around this with the partnership. So all that to say is I want everyone on the call to know, or on this video to know, that there is active efforts by TikTok to start combating and getting the industry to work together. But that said, I do obviously social media is an area where this solicitations happening and where they're reaching the masses. And it's not just TikTok, by the way, it's all the platforms, and I could name them all. We're seeing them. What do you guys see? So when you're looking at your world and you're looking at this many to one, and you see this kind of, what are you seeing there? How are they targeting these bad actors? I think you have a demographic that's probably younger than some of the other platforms. How are they targeting them? Are you able to see this kind of activity as it's taking place? What does your world look like in this?
Sure, we can see this is your answer, and I appreciate you. And to echo what you just stated, this is an industry-wide problem that hits every single corporation that operates in this landscape. We do have trust and safety moderators, that people who are dedicated solely to moderating content on the platform. So they use machine learning and other data scientists, wizards, to detect some of this anomalous behavior, right? So there's elements of that. And some of it sometimes is not even targeting our app. Some of it is directing users to an off platform encrypted communication with the available technology that exists there. So sometimes it will be whereby they will, as best I can say, sort of use our platform to direct people to other areas. So that's an unfortunate thing, and I've seen that happen with other platforms as well. So it's just we have to use and constantly evolve and learn from all these cases that happen, and look at the networks that are involved in doing this as well, and scope out those networks, and when we can, tamper them down and learn from their behavior. And we work very closely with our intelligence analytical or cybersecurity experts, our data engineers, our data scientists, to ensure that we use everything within our arsenal to combat this illicit crime.
It's interesting. Everything you listed there is very similar to what you'd find at most financial institutions, whether you're talking about the machine learning to kind of look for patterns and the network analysis and, the detection aspects of that. It's very interesting that, again, it's all about maturity. I don't know where you are on kind of that maturity curve of the techniques you're using.
We're always evolving, for sure. Yeah. We're looking to build additional capacities, and we have other financial crime experts that have come from the banking world are helping us towards this effort too. So I think we will be, again, we're a bit of a startup in some ways, right? I mean, we're very mature in many ways, but we're a young company we're hiring. We're looking for talented people constantly to build out our team. So I would encourage people to look for careers on TikTok if they want to. If they're looking for a change. It's certainly an exciting place to work.
Well, clearly it's in one respect on the front lines of being able to have impact on victims, on innocent people being duped. And so I do think it's an opportunity for having significant impact on making the world a better place at the TikTok. Can I ask, as we start to, I want to pivot to everybody on the call, everybody on this video are from financial institutions, are from solution providers, are from other industries where most of them are fraud and financial crime or cyber professionals. So from where you sit at TikTok, how can we help? And then how can we help you guys? And then how can we work together to kind of, again, it's going to be all of us working together. Your second thoughts on just what needs to be in place so we can start working together and really start doing something to fight back?
I know that the only way to combat any problem is through a team, right? And we need to work together on this. So I am always open to talking to whoever is on this call on ways to combat these problems going forward. We want to be an industry leader in this space in terms of working together closely with others, finding ways to work together to combat these problems. They're not going away overnight. And the only way, I firmly believe, to truly combat this is through education and collaboration. And that's the best way. And let's get those bright minds together and find ways to creatively attack this, because I don't have all the answers, nor do you, but somebody else may have another tack that may be very effective. And I'm always open to opening lines of communication and where we can work together. Let's do that. So that's something I think that would be an outstanding byproduct of this talk, is to let's have some better communication going forward.
So ways to make that actionable. One, I assume they can look up Lloyd Temple on LinkedIn and try to get in contact you with that way. And of course, through the Knoble, if you're a member of the Knoble, we're happy to put you in touch with. But is there a way that you, especially the financial institutions that want to get involved in the Be Cyber Smart campaign or anything like that? What's the best way?
Absolutely. There is an in-app reporting mechanism that, people, it's pretty easily to use. You can go to our main website, and there are, within our Be Cyber Smart campaign, there's a step-by-step instructions on how to report any fraud. But certainly, if you want to be a Be Cyber Smart participant, we can easily make that arrangement either through you or through me, and we'll ensure that we place you in contact with our outstanding global communications team, who are rock stars in this field, and they are great to work with. So I highly encourage you to step forward and we would be more than welcome to talk and get this moving.
So we're about out of time here, Lloyd. We just gave great example of how they can get involved. Any last thoughts that you want to give to everyone that's been participating?
I just think I can't really think of anything additional from other what I said, but I just appreciate the opportunity to talk with you on this. I greatly respect the work your company's doing on the human trafficking front. So anywhere we can work together and help protect our users and any other users in this, and we're all in this together, I think. And so I think let's just keep this ball moving and keep working together.
I love that, Lloyd. So, and my thoughts I would want to share with everyone here is, there's a lot of organizations that get bad raps when it comes to financial crime and human crimes, especially. And I meet a lot of bankers that have a heart for this fight. We work with thousands of them around the world at the Knoble, and I'm encouraged all the time by you guys who want to do more. I will tell you at TikTok, there are people that feel the same way. Lloyd and so many of the communications team, they're actively trying to do something here. So I would encourage everyone to, when you think of social media, it's so many of them want to do better. And so get involved, reach out to them. We need to work together to raise, it's our customers that are getting hit. So let's work together on this, like we've already talked about. And don't forget, behind every transaction is a human being. And so when we're talking about human trafficking, where their lives are at stake, or we're talking about scams, where their livelihoods, their passions, their savings, their love lives, when romance scams, all these are devastating. These have devastating impacts. So it's time to get involved. I think all of us in the industry, this isn't a problem that's going away. And so we all need to adjust our anti-scams and our anti-financial crime programs to do a better job of taking care of all of our customers. Lloyd, I got to say, just thank you for your time here. Thank you to the TikTok organization for just partnership and addressing this head on. I will tell you, all of us, including you guys, we all need to do more here, because this hockey stick, this exponential increase on scams, we all need to adjust our thoughts and our programs and advance them. Thank you to you and Maureen and the entire team that's taking a lead on this. I look forward to supporting you, and I know everybody who's listening will reach out to you and see how we can get involved, because you are touching so much of the front line, and we need to get involved to fight back. So thank you again, Lloyd, for your time here.
Thank you, Ian. I appreciate the opportunity to connect on this, and I wholeheartedly agree with everything you just said. So I don't really have anything more, but I agree. These victims are flesh and bone, and we need to protect them as best we can.
Thank you, sir. Great job. Appreciate you.
Take care.